Hello and good morning again, everyone. Patrick Mitchell here, and welcome to the third installment of this series. So let's get into this video. So as you already know, if you've been following this series, I've been working on the bass tracks. Last night I took some time after shooting the video to time align the second bass track, or the overdubbed bass track. I added in the Fatso along with the Neve 88RS channel strip to the second bass, and of course it created latency issues, which I fixed with the time alignment. Now for this video I'm going to be working on the drums. I did things a little different in approaching this song because typically I always start with the drums. But this time, for whatever reason, I started with the bass, and it's not a big deal. But I'm going to go back. I'm kind of working backwards from what I'm used to working. And we'll see what kind of issues arise, if any, that come up. But, of course, as you already know, the drums and the bass form the rhythm section of the song. And it's important that you get the two instruments to play nicely together. It actually, at least for me, creates some inspiration in the writing process if you've got the instruments sounding good together, and it causes me. I've always had the ability to be able to listen to something and hear two or three different things that could go along with whatever I hear simultaneously. Can't play them simultaneously, but I can hear them. So anyway, let's get into this video and see what we're at. I have you opened up on the mix window, which is the mixer section. Yeah, so let's see. Like I said, I time aligned everything last night, so let's give a listen to what we've got here. So yeah, the drums, of course, the bass stands out a little more now since we did some processing on that, but now we got to work on the drums. So let's take and solo up the drums. I think they could definitely use a little bit of EQ. So like on that, I'm going to try and use the, I don't know if I necessarily want to use a channel strip this time. Let me see what else I got here that might be able to bring the drums out. I would like to try, I guess I could use, I'll start with the just the native EQ that comes in Pro Tools. Sometimes this can actually work pretty good. I will drag it over here like so. Now this is a 5-band EQ, and with the drums, the lowest sounding instrument on the drum kit would be the bass drum. And usually a bass drum, depending on some hip-hop music, if you're producing hip-hop music, you can get into the really big sub-lows and the really thumping bass. This song doesn't necessarily warrant any of that thumpiness, so I'm going to try and roll off some of the bass at 6, 12. I'll go 18 dB per octave, and I'm going to roll this in to about there. Now I want to give you a listen to what this sounds like. See, as I move the filter back and forth, it lets in more of that bass. So see, there's no real frequency information below about 50 hertz. You start hearing it roll off after 50 hertz, and it starts to get even thinner than it already is. So I'm going to leave that at about 50 hertz. And then let's take our low mid maybe give that a little bit of a boost, and then we'll take our, or actually that's our low, excuse me, that's our low frequency. Give it the tiniest boost. We'll go We'll go 100 hertz for a boost, and we want to take it up and then we're going to take and move our low mid out to about 250 or 260. We'll start at 260, and I want to cut this. Narrow the Q up here a little bit. Yeah, that's not bad. I'm going to take and move my mid and then I'm going to take and do the same thing with the low pass filter, and I'm going to raise that to 18 dB per octave, and I'm going to move this in. So now you should hear all the highs going away. Hear how it gets really muffled like that. So you want it to breathe just enough, but you don't want a lot of extra information in there. It's actually pretty good. Anything above about 9 kilohertz. And then we can take and we'll even raise the high a little bit. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, I think we'll start with that EQ curve for right now for the drums. It actually gives the drums a little more definition when you're listening to them. But now I notice that the drums seem a little bit on the weaker side. Even though it's an electronic drum machine that did that track, and you know you're kind of locked with the way a drum machine sounds, and it's not the most appealing sound, but we can try and make it sound a little better. But we can also bring out the EQ, or not the EQ, but maybe with a little compression. But unfortunately, I've got to save that for another video because we're at the end of our section now. So stay tuned, and you'll hear more from the drums.